This is a video on how to set up the V70 series for some two-step simple tests. The first test we're going to set up is an Acw test, and you would do that by going to create steps right here. You press that, everything is done on screen. Now, this is asking us what type of test that we should be putting in here. The type in this case is an Acw, but you can cycle through and choose the different tests by just hitting the type of test. So we'll go to the Acw. Then we want to check the level. In this case, we're going to do a test that's 350 volts AC. So you go here, this is set at 1000 right now, we'll change that to 350 and press enter. And then you want to know if the device under test is grounded or if it's isolated. In this case, we want it isolated, so the DUT right here, we'll change that to isolated. Then we want to check the ramp time. In this case, we want a ramp time of 17.5 seconds. So we choose the ramp and then put in 17.5 and press enter. The next parameter that we're going to go to is the dwell. In this case, we want a 60-second dwell. It's set for 5 right now. We'll change that to 60. And then the next thing, we want the limits of the current. In this case, the minimum we want is 0. So if you put in 0, it's going to come back as no limit, which is the correct reading for 0. We'll just show you that. Enter, and if I go back there again, it'll say no limit. That's 0. The next item would be your maximum current level. In this case, we want to set it for 1 milliamp. So we put in 1, it's set for milliamp, press enter. So my first step is all set up. Now we want to add a second step on this one, which is a continuity. So we're going to put in add step right here. Now we're on step 2 of 2, and we have a new step. So the next step we want to put in is continuity. We cycle this around until it says continuity right here. The dwell on this continuity test is going to be 1 second, and the dwell is adjusted here. You just put in whatever dwell time you want in seconds and press enter. The next thing is going to be your limits. Now the minimum limit we want on this continuity test is 0. So we put in no limit, same as before. It comes back as no limit. No limit. The maximum limit we want to put in is, in this case, 100 milliohms. So it just has the ohms, so we have to put in 0.1 ohm. Okay, so you put in 0.1 ohm, that's 100 milliohms, and press enter. Now we have all of our tests set up. Now there's one added item over here, which is the zeroing for your leads. You can actually put in a value of the leads that you have in milliohms. You want to use the decimal point for milliohms. And then there is a milliohm item right here. So if we were to put in 10 milliohms would be the value of the leads if that's what we wanted. In this case, we're going to leave it at 0. Clear that, put in 0, enter. Okay, now I have my 2 steps all set up. Now in order for me to save that, I have to hit this save button in order for that test to be in there. Press that. Okay, now it's ready to have the test. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 1 mega ohm resistor for the high pot, and that's my high tension lead, and then this is my return. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a continuity, and I want to add the same return over here, and then my continuity between these two. You can run these 2 tests in sequence, and it will not harm anything if it's hooked up in this manner. In this case, I just have a dead short on here. You can hook your device any way that you wish. By hitting the red button, it arms the test. Now it's ready to go. So now we're going to press the test button, and it's going to go through the 17.5 second ramp up to 350 volts. It's reading the current there as we go up. It should read 350 microamps because that would be the correct value for a 1 mega ohm resistor in this case. And it's going to test that for 60 seconds. It's still testing, and it's holding steady right at 350 microamps. And this is going to go on for 60 seconds. Once it reaches the end of the test, it will automatically go to the next test because it's the second test in the sequence. And it's going to check continuity between the lower two ports. Okay, it's at 50 seconds, so it's almost done. And now it's checking continuity for just 1 second, and all steps have passed. If you press this button down here that says Show Details, it will give you the details of the test. In this case, it was an Acw test at 350 volts, and the final result was 350 microamps. It gives you an arc current right here, which is at 0, meaning I had no arcs during this test, and it passed the test of the criteria that we just put in. Then the next step here would be the continuity test, and we have a dead short on there, and it reads 0.007 milliohms, which would be the correct reading for having a dead short. This particular short is 0.007 milliohms, and it passed this step. Now, in order to go back to your main screen, you just press the red button, and it's ready to go for the next test.